the U.S. has frequently intervened in India-Pakistan military crises, mainly because of concerns about nuclear risks. And the reason why I think the U.S. intervened, and I think this is really the major reason, is the nuclear issue. The Indians targeting a particular air base in Rawalpindi, which is known to be near nuclear sites. We had seen a consistent position from the U.S. government calling for de-escalation. So there definitely had not been any type of active mediation early on. And we had seen a consistent position from the U.S. government calling for de-escalation. So there definitely had not been any type of active mediation early on in the crisis, but the U.S. position from the start had been calling for de-escalation, even though indeed Vice President Vance and President Trump had signaled that the U.S. was only going to do so much. However, I would argue that there are two reasons why we saw the U.S. jump in the way it did to push for a ceasefire. The first reason is escalation dynamics. You know, this was a crisis that escalated very quickly. You had significant levels of military action that were used by both sides. The initial Indian airstrikes in Pakistan in retaliation for the terrorist attack in Kashmir were of a greater scale than we've seen in Pakistan for many years. And then Pakistan's response, and then the fact that both countries were sending drones and missiles into each other's countries and targeting military sites. This I think was quite alarming for the U.S. government, just because this was a level of hostilities that had not been seen for many years. The second reason why I think the U.S. intervened, and I think this is really the major reason, is the nuclear issue. My sense is that the U.S. government was very concerned when you had the Indians targeting a particular air base in Rawalpindi, which is known to be near nuclear sites, and also the fact that Pakistan's own signaling in terms of convening certain types of meetings, or plans to convene certain types of meetings, suggested the possibility that they were prepared to talk about the risk of nuclear contingencies. So I think that this is actually a consistent pattern in U.S. policy when it comes to India-Pakistan crises. If you look at the history, the U.S. has frequently intervened in India-Pakistan military crises, mainly because of concerns about nuclear risks. And that I think was the case in Kargil. It was the case in 2001, 2002. And according to Mike Pompeo in his memoir, it was also the case in 2019. Pompeo, of course, was the Secretary of State during that crisis. So I think at the end of the day, it was a sudden concern on the part of the U.S. that the nuclear escalation risks in this crisis were real.
Subscribe to One India and never miss an update.